Will the meeting please come to order? Will all members of the council, as well as the public, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation this evening will be offered by Mr. Jim McIntyre, President of Father Ryan High School, the guest of Council Member at Large Bob Mendez.
Thank you. Please bow your heads to pray. Lord Jesus, you have said, "Come to me, all who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. With confidence in your loving heart, which offers rest to our weary souls, we come to you in this time of special need for our mayor and her family. In your unfailing love, we ask you to surround her family with your grace and peace. As the God of hope and love, draw close to her family those who can minister and support them. Comfort and give her and her family the peace of mind to know that your love is boundless and endures. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the servant leadership we receive from our mayor and the men and women of our city council, for the courage and selflessness from our police and fire departments, and for the generosity of spirit from all who serve the people of this great city. As our children return to school, make our campuses safe and secure. Inspire in your love our students, teachers, and administrators. Aid our parents in forming young adults with hearts to serve. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Allow us to share in the hope of our collective success. Give us a spirit of service. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us to be the instruments of your peace by allowing us to see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence your creation deserves. And finally, Father, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this as your sons and daughters, confident in your goodness and love. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Without objection, we'll suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of those members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for adoption of the minutes of meeting of July 8th, 2017? Without objection, those minutes will stand approved as written. Excuse me, I should have announced this at the beginning. We are joined by our new clerk, Elizabeth Waits. Madam Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
No, Vice Mayor. There are no messages from the mayor.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, there is a message to the mayor that I have written, and if you'll bear with me. Dear Mayor Barry, we are all shocked and deeply saddened to hear the news of your son's Max's death on Sunday. Please accept our most heartfelt condolences for your loss. The shock of your loss has sparked feelings of sadness, guilt, fear, and anger in us. Many of us have felt not only sadness for your family, but also a renewed sadness for those we have lost before. We have struggled with guilt that we could not prevent the loss of such a young man. Fear for our own children has shaken us. And we have felt anger that life should be so cruel. Yet, as we waited to visit you and Bruce on Monday, and as your friends congregated, another sense began to take hold. The people of Nashville arrived to show an unshakable sense of compassion and love for you and Bruce. This morning, Max's friends shared that sense of love for him as we celebrated his life.
And as we heard the story of Max's life, your and Bruce's love for Max moved us all. May this sense of love and compassion, which we have seen in Nashville since Sunday, surround you and Bruce in the coming days. We offer our love and support to you both as you go forth. Signed by the Vice Mayor and Metropolitan Council on behalf of the citizens of the Metropolitan Nashville and Davis County. Councilman Schulman, is there a report from the Rules Committee?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Members of the council, there is a report from the Rules Committee. We took up several reappointments and appointments, first starting with the Auditorium Commission. We heard the reappointment of Mr. John Landers for a term expiring June 30th, 2020, and the appointment of Ms. Perry Dugard Owens for a term expiring June 30th, 2020. The Rules Committee approved those 8-4-0 against, and I would move for approval.
You've heard the motion for confirmation of Mr. John Landers and Ms. Perry Dugard Owens to the Auditorium Commission. It's been properly seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Board of Equalization, this was to cover, with the help of Vivian Wilhoit, her office needs some extra folks to help in terms of trying to figure out people who are appealing their property tax decisions. So we had 3 appointments that we heard: Dr. John Flanagan, Ms. Jacqueline Kelly, and Mr. Don Turner for terms expiring April 1st, 2018. All those were approved, 7-4-0 against. I would move for approval on all 3.
You've heard the motion for confirmation of Dr. John Flanagan, Ms. Jacqueline Kelly, and Mr. Don Turner to the Board of Equalization. It's been properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Schulman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Board of Health, we heard the appointment of Dr. Alex Jahangir for term expiring July 9th, 2022. A very impressive resume. We approved that one 8-4-0 against, and I would move for approval.
You've heard the motion for confirmation of Dr. Alex Jahangir to the Board of Health. It's been properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Schulman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Historic Zoning Commission, the appointment of Ms. LaDonna Boyd for a term expiring June 1st, 2022. The Rules Committee reviewed that one, approved that one 8-4-0 against. Move for approval.
You've heard the motion for confirmation of Ms. LaDonna Boyd to the Historic Zoning Commission. It's been properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Schulman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. 3 on the Tourism Convention Commission. All 3 of these are reappointments. Very good discussion. People all seem to have a very good sense of what's going on with the city and with the need for tourism. Howard Cattell, Ms. Tanya Lewis, and Mr. Shannon Sanders, all terms expiring June 30th, 2020. That one was approved 7-4-0 against on all 3. Move for approval.
You've heard the motion for confirmation of Mr. Howard Cattell, Ms. Tanya Lewis, and Mr. Shannon Sanders to the Tourism and Convention Commission. It's been properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Last one, Metropolitan Transit Authority, appointment of Ms. Glenn Farner for a term expiring July 18th, 2020. He takes the place or fills the unexpired term of Mr. Lewis Levine. Rules Committee approved that one 7-4-0 against. Move for approval.
You've heard the motion for confirmation of Mr. Glenn Farner to the Metropolitan Transit Authority. It's been properly seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilman Schulman. I would like to, we would like to acknowledge all the members of the public who have been confirmed tonight. So if you would please stand and remain standing until I've called everyone. To the Auditorium Commission, Mr. John Landers and Ms. Perry Dugard Owens. To the Board of Equalization, Dr. John Flanagan, Ms. Jacqueline Kelly, and Mr. Don Turner. To the Board of Health, Dr. Alex Jahangir, correct, more or less. To the Historic Zoning Commission, Ms. LaDonna Boyd. To the Tourism and Convention Commission, Mr. Howard Cattell, Ms. Tanya Lewis and Mr. Shannon Sanders, and to the Metropolitan Transit Authority, Mr. Glenn Farner. On behalf of the members of the Metropolitan Council, the citizens and the citizens of Davidson County, we'd like to thank you for your willingness to serve and to put your expertise to work here in the city. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, you got 3 more.
I'm going to ask.
I've already got mine picked. I've already asked mine. They're confirming. You know Lindsey Crinks, Open Table Nashville? Yeah. So I asked Freeman if it was okay. Lindsay and I spent four very cold nights driving around looking for homeless people.
Ready?
And,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, moving on.
seemed to be the right person to ask. Maybe.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on the agenda, we're now at resolutions on public hearing. Resolution of RS 2017-804, Councilman Anthony Davis, a resolution exempting Fort Louise LLC located at 1304 McGavick Pike from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit pursuant to Section 7.08.090 of the Metropolitan Code. Before we get started, committee reports. Councilman Pardue? On 804? Oh, sorry.
Public safety passed it 4-0.
Thank you, Councilman Pardue. Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With that, I'd like to open the public hearing.
Okay, we declare the public hearing open. All in favor of RS 2017-804, please raise your hand. All opposed? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Davis.
Thank you. I'll move for approval.
Councilman Davis moves for approval. All duly seconded. All in favor of 804?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bills on public hearing, right? That brings us to bills on public hearing. BL 2017-700, Councilman Scott Davis. Approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission, 7-0. Changes 0.49 acres from R6 to SP zoning for property located at 1021 Elvira Avenue to permit up to 6 residential units. Councilman Scott Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Opening the public hearing, please, sir.
I think I have a note here that there was a problem with the signs. Is that correct? They have to be deferred to the September public hearing. Correct? Am I correct, Councilman?
If they say so, then yes, sir.
Right. So is there a motion to defer to the September public hearing?
And we shall. Might defer to the first meeting in September.
Yes, sir. Yeah. There's a motion to defer to the first meeting in September. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-703, Councilman Scott Davis, approved by the Planning Commission 8-0, changes 0.82 acres from CS and OR 20 to RM 20A zoning for property located at 107 and 109 Queen Avenue. Councilman Scott Davis. I have the same note on my agenda. So is there a motion to defer to the first meeting in September?
Let's go.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilman. BL 2017-704, Council Lady Vercher, Council Lady Karen Johnson, referred to the Planning Commission amends the Metro Code pertaining to rope lighting. Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for withdrawal.
That bill will be withdrawn. BL 2017-759, Councilman Hastings, approved by the Planning Commission 701. Changes .47 acres from R8 to IWD zoning for property located at 2923 Brick Church Pike. Councilman Hastings.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to move to defer this bill by 2 meetings.
Motion to defer to the September public hearing is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-770, Councilman Scott Davis, approved by the Planning Commission 4 and 3. Changes .68 acres from RS5 to RM9A zoning for property located at 1308 Montgomery Avenue. Councilman Scott Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for a 2-meeting deferral.
Motion to defer to the September public hearing is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-784, Councilman Swope, referred to the Planning Commission. Amends the Metro Code to establish a maximum permitted height of 10 feet for electric fences within any zoning district where electric fences are permitted. Councilman Swope.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to defer to the first meeting in September.
This is a motion to defer to the first meeting in September. Is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-796, Councilman Kendall, approved by the Planning Commission 8 and 1, changes .18 acres from RS5 to R6A zoning for property located at 2401 Alameda Street. Councilman Kendall.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I believe this is one that has a signage problem as well.
You're correct.
We want to defer it.
There's a motion to defer to the first meeting in September. Is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-797, Councilman Kendall, approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission 7 and 0. Changes 5.73 acres from RM15 and CS to SP zoning for property located at 2121 26th Avenue North and 2707 Clarksville Pike to permit a mixed-use development. Councilman Kendall.
I'd like to open public hearing.
We need to get the slides, and then we'll have the public hearing. Is that not correct?
Approved. It was approved by the Planning Commission.
Okay. My apologies, Councilman Kendall. Would all of those in favor of BL 2017-797 please raise your hands? Those opposed? Seeing none opposed, do those in favor wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Kendall.
Move approval.
Motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-798, Councilman Syracuse, disapproved by the Planning Commission 8 and 0. Changes .57 acres from RS20 to SP zoning for property located at 3233 Knob View Drive to permit an accessory hair salon in addition to all uses permitted by the RS20 zoning district. Councilman Syracuse, I believe this one is disapproved, and we'll need to see the slides before I come to you.
This is a request to rezone from RS20 to SP mixed use. The Planning Commission recommendation was to disapprove. The property is located at the intersection at the corner of Knob View Drive and Capella Court. The current zoning of the property is RS20, single-family residential. The land use policy for the area is T3 suburban neighborhood maintenance. The plan as proposed would allow all uses permitted by the RS20 zoning district and one accessory hair salon. There were additional standards included in the SP for signage, alterations, and parking. Just as a bit of history on the home occupations within the county, several years ago, the Planning Commission reviewed various bills that would have permitted different types of home occupations that allowed for clients. The current regulations for home occupations do not allow for clients to visit the home. So the various changes would have been, one of them was specifically targeted to cosmetology and barbershops. That was ultimately withdrawn. There were also others which would have permitted home occupations on a broader range that were either withdrawn or ultimately disapproved by the council. Planning Commission recommendation was to disapprove, as the introduction of this use is an inappropriate use of the SP tool, as it does not provide for a context-sensitive design for the neighborhood, and it does not meet the land use policy of neighborhood maintenance.
Thank you. Councilman Syracuse. There you go.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Open the public hearing, please.
Would all those in favor of Bill 2017-798, please raise your hands. All those opposed? Those in favor, please come forward and line up. You'll each be given 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and address. When we do have big groups like this, I just encourage people to listen to the speakers in front of them. A me too or ditto is just as good as saying the same thing as the people in front of you. And we do take notice of how many hands get raised. So don't feel obligated to speak. Feel free, but not obligated. There you go. You're first.
Good evening. I'm Pat Rayner, and I have lived at 3233 Nashville Drive for 28 years. And I'm here tonight to ask you to please allow me to work as a hairdresser in my home. I have to work from home. As I get older, I can't work the hours it takes to maintain the amount of money you need to pay the commercial rent. If I could work from home, I could work as long as I need to because I cannot retire. My neighbors don't care if I work from home. I have 44 signatures here. They don't care if I'm at home. As a matter of fact, it would be a comfortable place for them to come, and they would feel safe there as opposed to a commercial setting. Let me take you on my journey that brought me here tonight. In 2011, 2 councilmen worked very hard to try to allow home-based businesses to exist. And I want to thank Mr. I can't think of his name, sorry. Anyway, at that time, they worked very hard to get it to allow home-based businesses to be in the home. But at that time, it did not pass. So in 2013, I went to the Tennessee State Board of Cosmetology. I acquired a license, and they allowed me to work from home as a hairstylist. I did so for 6 months. Then I received a letter from Metro Codes, said I had to move the business out of my house. I did so. In that 6 months when I worked, not one person came to my door and objected to me being there, mostly because it's very small and nobody knew other than the clients. Did not interrupt the neighborhood. So I went back to commercial rent for 4 years. I've been doing that. It's becoming increasingly harder to do that. But I'm asking you tonight to please allow me to work from home. Passing this rezoning would allow me to do that. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. I may not have made it totally clear, but if you want to speak, you'll need to line up over here behind the podium. So otherwise, we end up spending a whole lot of time waiting for people to approach. So if you do want to speak, please move on over there, and I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Theresa Robinson. I live at 2515 Tenwood Drive in Donaldson. I've been a resident there for 51 years. You know, we never know when our situations might change, and God forbid that I could lose my husband and have to be the sole support of my children and myself. And I can see no wrong in supporting Pat to be able to stay in her home. And, you know, I would hope that my councilman, my community, and all would be behind me if I had to maybe teach piano lessons or keep children or even take an ironing. We never know how our situations are going to change. And I would ask that you would please reconsider letting Pat have this beauty shop in her home.
Good evening. My name is Michael Waddell. I live at 2306 Belmont Boulevard, and I support this property being rezoned. Thank you for your hearing.
My name is Maria Waddell, and Pat does my hair. And where she lives, it's very private. It's on a corner, and it wouldn't bother anyone. And where we live on Belmont Boulevard, it is so noisy, and everything goes, and it's a historical. It's historical there, but yet everything's allowed. So I think it would be great for Pat to be able to do this, and she is a widow, and she is getting older, and I myself was a widow, so I know what it's like. Thank you.
My name is Barbara McCanowitz. Pat, I live in Hermitage. I'm not a neighbor, but I've been a client of hers for over 10 years. I followed her everywhere she went, and I was so happy when she had her own place. It was so comfortable to drive there, not fight the traffic, anything. I highly recommend that you consider this in her favor. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brenda McCord, and I live on Hunters Hill in Donaldson. I've lived in Donaldson for almost 30 years. And I'm also a client of Pat, and I've asked Mr. Syracuse to help her, and now I'm asking the rest of you. She's a senior citizen, sorry about that, Pat, and she has to work. She's single, she has their son, she's helping her, so just give her a chance. She's not doing any harm. Thank you.
My name is Candy Rossi, and I'm a friend of Pat's, and she also does my hair. I live on 30 and on Hunters Hill Road as well in the neighborhood, and I'm supporting Pat. I wish you would approve that for her.
My name's Colleen O'Connell, and I live at 3000 Windermere Circle, somewhat away from Pat's house. But I support the comments that have already been made. She deserves to be able to work in her home. I've seen comments our neighbors have posted on Nextdoor, and I know that some of them, I don't think most of them, but I've seen comments where they fear that this will destroy the character of the neighborhood. It's not going to. Other bills, as you know, have been brought before this group to allow people to work in their homes, and the scaremongers always come out and say it's going to destroy the neighborhood. But the evidence says that doesn't happen. Where people work in their homes, there is no crime issue, there is no traffic issue. People don't know they're there because there's no outward sign of the professional activity going on inside. What concerns me is the discouragement of the work ethic. I think we should be supporting Ms. Rayner in her attempt to support herself. She's not asking for a handout. She's asking to be allowed to support herself. And if people contribute to our tax base, why does it matter if they work from home? Again, because there's going to be no obvious evidence that she's working from home. When commercial restrictions are prohibitive or other obstacles exist, we should encourage the means to work with the least overhead expense and to recognize the obstacles and help our citizens. Please give Ms. Rayner this SP designation. And then could you work on a law that will allow everybody working from their home to be legal, because they're not telling you they're there. Thank you.
Don Wiley, 3232 Knobview Drive, right across the street from Ms. Rayner. She's a very, very good neighbor, and the fact that when she did do hair in her home, nobody knew it. It didn't seem to be an issue. Times are changing, and the last two couples that have moved into the neighborhood work from home. And if you look at the stats, the trends are that way. And so I'd really encourage you to think about this and address it so that it's possible that Pat could work from her home. Thank you.
My name is Ted Newman. I'm a business owner in Donaldson. Some of you know me as PC Dude. I just want to say I support small business 100%, have been in business in Nashville since '81. And if we can keep one person off of welfare, then I think it's up to all of us to do what we can. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is George Dean. I'm an attorney with 2 Nanchgren & White. Our firm's just across the street at 315 Demumberin. Pat came to me several months ago and asked me to draft the bill that's before you tonight. I'll talk a little bit that in just a second, but I wanted to make a couple of points first. As the Planning Commission has pointed out, the council has looked at home occupations over the last 10 or 15 years on several occasions, and it's become pretty clear that there's not really a very easy way to pass a comprehensive county-wide resolution of this issue. As a result, this is a way of approaching it on a more specific point-by-point issue. It gives the local councilman a chance to look at it, gives the neighborhood a chance to weigh in. It's not a single solution for everybody. It's more focused and allows each individual community to look at it. I wish there was a better way, but it doesn't seem to me that that's possible. This bill requires no changes to the structure at all. The facilities were installed several years ago, as Pat described to you already. The request would limit the number of customers on site to 2 cars. She has parking for 5 cars on the property, but the bill itself limits customers to 2 at any particular time, 2 cars on the property at any particular time. There will be no other employees. It's just Pat. There's nobody else there. No more than 20% of the square footage of the home, about 500 square foot, would be involved in the activity. She's licensed by the state board, as she mentioned. The premises will be inspected and approved by the state of Tennessee. Only one small directional sign is requested in the ordinance, and the hours are limited. I wanted to make one small final point, and there's a lot of discussion about this. And as a number of you know, I've done this for a long period of time. There's a discussion about commercial versus residential. And the problem in talking about commercial versus residential is this is a residential use of property. It has an accessory to it, as many residential uses do, but the accessory use doesn't convert it somehow into a commercial property. It remains, for all intents and purposes, a residential piece of property and won't have any adverse impact on the surrounding neighborhood. We'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Seeing no one else in support, with those in opposition, please come forward to speak. Again, state your name and address, and
pardon me. Good
Yes,
evening.
sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. My name is Jonathan Hutchins. I live at 3210 Maryland Lane, about half a mile from Ms. Rayner. With all appreciation and respect to my neighbors, my wife and I have just moved to the neighborhood about 4 years ago. This will be our last home, I think, and we're thrilled to be in the neighborhood. We've got great neighbors. It's a revitalizing neighborhood. Looks to be a great place to live, and we feel that commercial activity in the neighborhood would be detrimental to our property value. We'd like for this to be defeated, if you please. Thank you, sir.
My name is Brenda Hutchins. I live at 3210 Merlin Lane. I am very concerned at the idea of weakening or changing our zoning restrictions. I believe that zoning restrictions keep our neighborhood stable, and this is what I love about Lincoya Hills, is that it's homes and it's stable, and I would hate to see what might happen in 15 years if we were to set a precedent now to open up the zoning just a little bit, just this one crack, just this one time. What might come down the road is what has me concerned. I would please ask you to defeat this. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. I'm Charlotte Cooper, 3409 Trimble Road. And tonight I am speaking in opposition to this bill because I believe it could set a very dangerous precedent for all 35 districts. One property situated in the middle of a residential neighborhood, requesting to be rezoned in order to allow a business where customers come to the home, is, in my opinion, very wrong. I fear, if approved, it will open the floodgates for many more requests for all types of businesses to be able to operate in residential neighborhoods. As a longtime neighborhood advocate and president of the Green Hills Neighborhood Association, I can tell you our members do not want businesses operating in our neighborhoods, whether they are hair salons, recording studios, or mini hotels. Residential should mean residential. There are appropriately zoned areas where these businesses can operate, but not in our residential neighborhoods. I am not naive. I know there are illegal businesses in Nashville being operated from home in residential neighborhoods. Unfortunately, the codes department is complaint-driven, so hopefully when neighbors report these illegal businesses, codes shuts them down. Land use and zoning policies have created certain areas strictly for residential neighborhoods, where no businesses are allowed to operate. We should protect these areas, and property owners should also respect this. But sometimes individuals find themselves in special circumstances and they want to ask for an exception rather than following the rule. But the largest majority of property owners purchased their residential home specifically for that rule: no businesses allowed. I spoke at the Planning Commission way back in February when they heard this issue and another similar issue, which happens to be on the agenda tonight for the third vote. And all 8 of the planning commissioners in attendance voted no on both issues. I hope you will follow the land use and zoning policies and also vote no on both issues. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and your service to Nashville.
My name is Cynthia Teague. I live at 2172 Branch Oak Trail in Nashville. I'm standing before you dittoing what the previous speaker said, but I would like to point out to you that there's a bigger issue here, Council, that you really need to take under consideration, and that is what you are fixing to do is open up something that we call spot zoning. Spot zoning is a horrible way to go, because it opens the door for all sorts of rezoning requests from individuals who simply want to have a change of use of a property. The issue with this particular property is that it's right in the middle of a residential subdivision. There's no way to get to this particular property without driving through a residential area. That means more transient traffic. It could mean transient walking traffic as well. The particular location for this is really a bad idea because the traffic on Lebanon Pike is very bad in that particular area, as well as McGavick Pike, which is very narrow, and it's very close to a high school where you've got a lot of young drivers. I just think it's a really bad idea to approve this particular project.
Good evening. My name is John Stern, and I'm the president of the Nashville Neighborhood Alliance. Mr. President, a lot has already been said. This is a tough case, though. You have a very difficult decision to make, but let me help you. It is the standard of the Nashville Neighborhood Alliance to have no commercialization of residential property within Davidson County. We've been saying this for the last 30 years, and we'll continue to say it as we move along. What I find amazing is Mr. Dean suggesting we revert to spot zoning as a way of dealing with these business issues. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Grace Renshaw. I live at 220 Mockingbird Road, and I'm president of the Cherokee Park Neighborhood Association. I ask that you vote no on 2017-798, which involves, in my opinion, the misuse of specific planned zoning to allow for the construction and operation of a hair salon in a residential neighborhood. If I understand it correctly, specific planned zoning was to give developers more flexibility to do the right thing. If that flexibility means introducing residential units into a commercial zone, which would potentially allow residents to walk to work, I'm all for it. But I don't support a bill allowing anyone to construct a freestanding commercial enterprise in a neighborhood zoned residential. If 798 and 719, which is on third reading, passed, 2 lots in areas now zoned exclusively for residential use will effectively become single-lot, freestanding commercial zones surrounded by residential zoning. My guess is such zoning changes are permanent. That means some neighbors who bought property in a residential zone with confidence that a business wouldn't open up next door will end up with a business next door for the foreseeable future. I hope the council will oppose the use of specific plan zoning as a tool to enable people who want to construct and run businesses in in residential neighborhoods to do an end run around residential and other types of zoning. I understand why a council member would advocate for constituents that you want to help, but that advocacy shouldn't hurt the rest of us, and it certainly shouldn't hurt more people than it helps. It's neither fair to neighbors nor wise policy to exempt one person's property and only that person's property from residential zoning requirements. At the February 9th meeting, planning commissioners rejected 2 bids for a hair salon and 1 bid for a recording studio, 8-0. If you want to be inundated with similar proposals in residential neighborhoods all over town, including mine, grant this pass 798. I ask you not to do that.
Hello, members of council. My name is Barrett Hobbs. I reside at 124 Spring Valley Road. We have multiple properties in the Donaldson area. We're seeing unprecedented growth and opportunity in the Donaldson area. And for those of you that have been on the membership of the council for a while, we've had this issue in the Bluefield neighborhood several times at the Lebanon Road and Bluefield Avenue section, and it's dabbled around us at Donaldson Pike and Bluefield. You know, I kind of feel bad asking for opposition to this, to hearing her story and what she's going to do with the property. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to set that aside. My concern is, as a resident of the Donaldson neighborhood community, if this property is sold after it is rezoned, then we don't necessarily have the controls in place to say that the next hair salon won't want to add 5 cars or change the type of business to say, well, we're still operating inside, you know, what the original confines of the square feet allowed us to. You just kind of lose control. And I would hope that you would vote this down. Just as someone said earlier, it's just cracking the door in an area of town that, as Councilman Syracuse could explain to all of y'all, we're open for business. We've got tons of commercial and mixed use areas that I think, you know, we're there for anyone that is in a serious commercial mode. So thank you for your time.
My name is Ann Loring, and I'll just tell you right up, I'm a complete nervous wreck because I'm not used to talking like this. But my husband, late husband, was the councilman, J.B. Loring, and he served proudly in the 15th district. I live directly next door to Mrs. Rayner. And at this time, our area is zoned residential, and all of our neighbors are hardworking, and they keep their places really looking nice. And we all know that Mrs. Rayner's goal is to have this passed so she can work in her home. However, under a bill like this, if she should sell her home, the zoning would go with the house. And also, if she, I'm very nervous. At this time, this zoning also covers other areas also. So if the house were sold, then it would have new owners, which could bring in a lot of different various types of businesses, which one of them would be a daycare. So since I'm living right next door to her, I just wish that you would not pass this. And thank you for your time.
Hey, Council, Terry Crotzer, 3212 Knobview. Everything that's been said is needed to be said has been said. I live in a nice neighborhood. It's residential. I care nothing about having commercial in my neighborhood. I care for my neighbors. I'm sorry she is in the situation she is in. But we need to keep our neighborhoods, not only in Donaldson, but around the city, residential, not commercial. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good evening.
Vice Mayor and members of council, I'm Tim Weeks, Hager's Grove Pass and Hermitage. I'm also president of the Donaldson Hermitage Neighborhood Association. No long speech from me. We represent 12 neighborhoods and a lot of at-large members, hundreds of at-large members in Donaldson and Hermitage. And really, there's no one in support of this bill in my constituency and the people that I communicate with in our area, that our neighborhoods want to stand together, that we really don't want commercial development inside areas that are zoned residential. It's fairly simple. But a few other just thoughts that, you know, what does this also say to other businesses that are paying commercial rent? That, you know, we're talking about the potential of opening a Pandora's box with this bill. That, well, you know, I really can't afford this commercial rent, or I don't want to pay this amount of commercial rent. I'll just move this business into a home or residential area and operate my business more cheaply. I think there could be a stampede of those types of situations. Also, in terms of just the precedent, which others have stated, that, you know, I empathize with the lady and her situation, but today a hair salon, today recording studio, tomorrow is someone that wants to have a drive-through barbecue because they enjoy cooking in their backyard and they want to sell food to people driving through. You know, it's endless to think of the possibilities of who might want to do this. So, in summary, it's just an inappropriate use of SP, and I hope you'll vote this down. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, members of the council. I'm John Summers, and I live at 5000 Wyoming Avenue. In all due respect to my colleague from the Nashville Bar, he knows, as we all know as attorneys, that this is an illegal spot zoning, just like 719 is an illegal spot zoning for a recording studio. If this were taken into court, if it were to be passed, it would be challenged and it would be kicked out. Why? Because the courts have said clearly that to have a zoning regimen like we have here in Nashville, where we distinguish between industrial, commercial, office, residential, to be able to have those distinctions, we have to have a general plan that shows a pattern and a rational basis for doing that. So every time you are confronted, and you've been confronted, and every council has been confronted, I was confronted with this when I was in the council, as to whether or not you try to do a favor for someone, and it's always someone that may have a very good legitimate story like this applicant does, but they're asking for a fair advantage over their competition. And you put their competition, who does pay market rates, at a disadvantage, but you also put our whole zoning regimen in jeopardy. And that's something this council is going to have to grapple with, particularly as we grapple with commercial STRs that we're dealing with here in the near future, hopefully, because you cannot come up with an option and exception for everything. Otherwise, our whole zoning system is going to be challenged and start falling apart, quite frankly. Because if you start letting certain businesses in, then you're going to have to let other businesses in. The Equal Protection Amendment is a wonderful thing. It keeps us from discriminating against men versus women, blacks versus whites versus Hispanics, gays versus straight. It's the basis for how we have to treat everybody equally. It is the reason why, regardless of what the legislature does, if they treat Nashville differently, it will be illegal. But you have a system here, and you need to maintain that system, and sometimes it means telling no to people that have very good stories. This lady can go into any one of her customers' houses and cut their hair, treat their hair, do their hair. There's nothing to stop that. What we don't allow here is we don't allow customers to come into a residential property. To do that, you need to have a business. You need to be in a commercial area that's properly zoned for it, and that's how the regimen works. If you keep poking holes in the system, then we will lose the system. And I don't think that's what you or anyone else in Davidson County really wants to see. I've been here for many, many years. I've been very consistent. Protect the integrity of our neighborhoods. If you don't, nobody else will. Thank you very much.
Seeing no one else, declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I appreciate everyone who came to speak. I obviously don't support this bill. As Mr. Dean stated, he filed it. So ultimately, procedurally here, I am going to move approval of this process, but I'm going to ask my colleagues to vote no. The people that spoke in favor, I do appreciate their comments, and I agree that Pat is a good person. But this is an inappropriate use of an SP. I totally agree with the Planning Commission and the department's comments and recommendations. And I also agree that if we start this, we are opening Pandora's box. And so I believe in the integrity of the neighborhoods. I do not believe in utilizing spot zoning in the middle of neighborhoods. And I would ask, again, move approval, but I would ask that my colleagues vote no on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Scott Davis.
For the record, I stand by my colleague. I'll be voting the way he's asking us to vote this down. But in the spirit of this, seeing he has opposition from his neighbors, seeing that his neighbor that needs this is a sweet person, and everyone's hair looks fabulous. So she's obviously a great hairdresser. But one thing I want to point out right now is that, once again, neighbors are against it, and, you know, the councilman has asked us to vote it down. So I'm going to follow the direction of my colleague, and I'm going to vote with him today on this. So I ask you to do the same, because he knows his neighborhood. And I'd like to, you know, sit down now, but thank you, everybody.
Councilman Glover.
Just very quickly, Vice Mayor. So, Mr. Jameson, if this is defeated right now, this will not make it to committee. We will have no discussion. And, okay. And so I'm a little bit torn with that, because I feel like it does need to have the discussion because of the STRPs and some of the things that people brought to it. I'm going to honor the councilman's wishes as well. It's his district. But I do wish that we could have the conversation. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Pardue.
Well, I disagree with my colleague. We don't even have to have a conversation about this. The law says we can't do it. We shouldn't do it. Can I have a grocery store at my house? We just passed legislation last year that says you can't park a car in your front yard and sell it. Now, how am I going to tell my people in the Goodlettsville area that I'll not support you having a business in your home in this area, but you can go to Donaldson and run a beauty shop? I've got to vote against this tonight in all fairness. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I would agree that this is not an appropriate use of an SP. I don't intend to support it. I would offer the opportunity to discuss home business in general at a planning committee meeting if we can fit that in, or pass that on to the next planning committee chair. It's an issue that keeps coming up. It's certainly worth having discussions on why it keeps coming up. So I would offer that as something to take place in another venue, regardless of what happens to this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilman Swope.
Call the question.
You're the last speaker. There's a motion to approve. The sponsor, the councilman, is asking that you vote no on the motion to approve. Madam Clerk, would you open the machine? Has everyone voted? Madam Clerk, would you close the machine and tally the vote? Move the mic over a little.
0 in favor, 34 noes, 2 abstain.
Motion fails. BL 2017-799, Councilman Leonardo, referred to the Planning Commission. Amends the Metro Code pertaining to construction, demolition, landfills, and sanitary landfills. Councilman Leonardo.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing.
All those in favor of BL 2017-799, please raise your hands. I'm going to let everybody filter out here, Mr. Leonardo, just so we don't miss anybody. having some OCD over there. All right, I think I can see now. All those in favor of Bill 2017-799, please raise your hands. All those opposed? Seeing none on either side, declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Leonardo.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval.
There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Bill 2017-809, Council Lady Murphy, approved by the Planning Commission 6-0. Cancels .91 acres of a planned unit development overlay district for property located at 5400 Burgess Avenue. Council Lady Murphy.
I would like to open the public hearing.
All those in favor of Bill 2017-809, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none opposed, those in favor wish to speak, declare the public hearing closed. Council Lady Murphy.
I'd like to move for approval.
It's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Bill 2017-810, Council Lady Murphy, approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission 6-0. Changes 2.07 acres from RM20 and RS 7.5 to SP zoning for properties located at 5402 and 5408 Burgess Avenue and a portion of 5400 Burgess Avenue to permit 8 multifamily units. Council Lady Murphy.
Open the public hearing, please.
All those in favor of BL 2017-810, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none opposed, do those in favor wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. Council Lady Murphy.
I'd like to move for approval.
There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-811, Councilman Scott Davis. Approved by the Planning Commission 9-0. Changes .72 acres from RS5 to RM20A for zoning for properties located at 115, 117, and 119 Elmhurst Avenue. Councilman Scott Davis. Sorry, sir.
Ms. Logan, we ready for takeoff?
You ready?
I'd like to open for a public hearing, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Would all those in favor of BL 2017-811 please raise your hands? Those opposed? Seeing none opposed, do those in favor wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Davis.
Move for approval.
There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-812, Councilman Pulley, referred to the Planning Commission, changes 15.08 acres from R10 to RS10, zoning for various properties located along Grandview between Leland and Granny White Pike. Councilman Pulley.
Move to open the public hearing, please.
All those in favor of BL 2017-812, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Councilman Pulley, do you see any opposed?
No, sir.
Seeing none opposed, do those in favor wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. I did that quickly, Councilman Pulley. Did you notice? I believe there was a recommendation ultimately from the Planning Commission on this as well.
Yes, sir, there was.
I'm going to ask for a report on the recommendation from the Planning Commission before we proceed.
The Planning Commission recommendation was to disapprove as submitted, but approve with a substitute.
Thank you. Councilman Pulley.
I would move approval with a very brief comment.
The floor is yours.
I'd like to thank all of those who came out tonight in support of this bill, and I'd like to especially thank the neighbors who have worked so diligently to engage their fellow neighbors, albeit spirited at times, to reach a conclusion in a bill that everyone can accept. I will be introducing a substitute submitted by the Planning Commission at third reading. With that, I'd move approval.
Councilman Pulley, before you set that down, I just want to confirm one thing. Since it's currently in the form of a disapproved bill, we normally would see the slides. If you're representing to the council that you intend to adopt the substitute, I think we can dispose with that.
That's exactly what I represented, and I maintain that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I may not have been listening to you. I was conferring with counsel, sir. I control your mic. Don't forget that. There's a motion.
Still on.
There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-813, Councilman Syracuse. Approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission 6-0. Changes 2.28 acres from CS, IWD, and R10 to SP zoning for properties located at 1600, 1602, and 1604 Lebanon Pike for 25 multifamily units. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Open the public hearing, please.
Would all those in favor of BL 2017-813 please raise your hands? Those opposed? Seeing none opposed, do those in favor wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval. Brief comment.
The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. This is at the very beginning of the 15th district, closer to 19, is an excellent area for infill development. It's going to be a fantastic development. I fully support it, and I move approval.
There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-8. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't see a flash on there, Councilman Davis. I apologize. On BL 2017-813, if you could mark Councilman Scott Davis as abstaining, please. Thank you, Madam Clerk. BL 2017-814, Council Lady Murphy. Referred to the Planning Commission, implies 4.5 acres of a neighborhood conservation overlay district, properties along Colorado and Nebraska Avenue, southeast of the intersection of Utah and 46th Avenue North. Council Lady Murphy.
I'd like to open the public hearing.
All those in favor of BL 2017-814, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none opposed, do those in favor wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. Council Lady Murphy.
I would like to move for approval.
There's, I'm going to go back, since this does not have on my agenda at least a recommendation from the Planning Commission.
The Planning Commission recommended approval.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy has moved to approve. Is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-815, Council Lady Mina Johnson, approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission 6-0. Changes 10.7 acres from R8 to SB zoning for property located at 11 Vaughns Gap Road to permit up to 54 multifamily units. Council Lady Mina Johnson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to open public hearing, please.
All those in favor of BL 2017-815, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Those in favor, please come forward to speak, please, if you'd like to. Again, 3 minutes or less, and state your name and address, please. I'm sorry. There you go.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. My name is Michael Garrigan, 516 Heather Place. I'm a civil engineer with Dale & Associates. I haven't worked a lot on this project personally, but my mentor and my boss, Mr. Dale, unfortunately could not make it this evening. So he briefed me on the lengthy history that he has worked on this property. As Council Lady Johnson, I'm sure, knows, I believe this has been going on for about almost 2 years now. There have been approximately 6 community meetings. The density has been reduced from well over 70 to now 54 units. At the last meeting, it's my understanding that there was a consensus of support. We've done everything that we can do to meet every request that we can, and as always, we will continue to do so through third reading. But for tonight, we ask for your support. Thank you.
My name is Steve Kerr. I'm one of the owners at 11 Vaughns Gap Road. So I want to speak in favor of this. This process has gone on for 18 months. We've had 8 community meetings. Mina Johnson has done a wonderful job with her constituencies. We started off with 100, maybe 120 people at the meetings, and the last one we had on Thursday night, we had 5 people. We think we've answered all the questions. Of the 5 people that showed up, 2 of them showed up to sign up to buy some units. So we think we've gone through the process of solving all the community issues and the Planning Commission, which approved this unanimously. Thank you.
Seeing no one else in support, those in opposition who'd like to speak, please come forward. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm Linda Birch from 6906 Highland Park Drive. And this property overlooks Edwin Warner Park, and it's on the hill overlooking the park. Also, the land is limestone, and it's not very stable. The properties surrounding it have trouble with sinkholes and springs coming up out of the land. And it's concerning that this would cause more issues. Also, we have flooding coming down off of the hill. And also the railroad tracks would be along one perimeter, with Vaughn's Gap Road being the only way out to go either over the railroad tracks to Highway 100. That's a bottleneck area, or it would come back the other way on to Percy Warner Boulevard. So anyway, it's really a tight area for so many homes. Thank you.
My name is Pat Williams. I live at 53 Vaughn's Gap. Excuse me. I used to live at 53 Vaughn's Gap Road, but I live at 4301 Elkins Avenue now. But formerly, I lived at 53 Vaughn's Gap for 25 years, so I know the area very well. I have friends who live in the condominiums. I have several friends who live in the condominiums adjacent to this property. And I think from everything they say and their neighbors say, this would be an absolute disaster traffic-wise for all of those people that live in those condominiums. I hope you consider that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laurie Gore, and I live at Harpeth Glen condominiums. Not only am I concerned about the traffic, mainly the blasting that could take place. Our condos are 45 plus years old, and with this being just right across from us, I'm really concerned about the blasting and it affecting our property and our foundations. So I'm really scared of this, and also it's very peaceful. We have a gym where we have lots of traffic. So if we have, 50-something units, we're going to have a lot more traffic. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, declare the public hearing closed. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to ask for approval with a brief explanation.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. We started this project 2 years ago. Prior to that, there was always some development over a 10 years period. Various development, at one point, high-rise, over 125 units. And 2 years ago when we started, it started about 80 units. And we had roughly 8 community meetings. And of course, every time when we have a community meeting, there's always concerns. So as we progress each meeting, we incorporated all the concerns and requests into the development. The bill and the plan front of you is reduced and up to 54 units. Where the development will occur is the currently used or unused tennis court. Behind the Boost development, huge building. Behind there was 6 or 8 abandoned tennis court. That's where the development will occur. And blasting is mentioned. Currently, there's no plan to blast because a developer want to use natural contour as layered on the tennis court. So by utilizing this natural contour, they can eliminate or blasting. And if by any chance blasting will be needed, I will incorporate the survey, pre-blasting survey and so forth required by Tennessee state. It will be incorporated into the bill before the third reading. And I intend to reach out to the neighbors if I miss anything specific into this bill. As of right now, we could think of incorporated every single condition we could think of. And of course, there's always improvement. So if I miss anything between now and next 2 weeks, I intend to meet with our community and incorporate any single more improvable condition into the bill. And also, let's see, traffic was concerned. This development currently from Bones Gap to Boost Fitness Club, there's one way in and one way out. Unfortunately, there will not be additional ingress and egress, but development will add designated left turn lane and designated right turn lane. So that will make it a little easier or eliminate backup of the traffic into the Vaughn's Gap area. So there is quite a bit of improvement, and as well as a view shed. That's the most important element, because the people are like Belmead, Highland, they are living a very nice hill. So by having this development, I wanted to prevent, destroy their view shed. So they're utilizing natural contour because of the elevation. The people behind the booth living in Highlands, their view will not be blocked. So developer will incorporate all the condition into this project. So I am intend to incorporate, keep hearing, keep listening, and add more condition as needed. So for that, I would ask your approval for this evening.
Councilman Mendez.
I need to be marked as abstaining on this one, please.
Councilor Weiner.
Thank you. With great difficulty, I'm going to have to vote no on this one because I have family and friends that live in this immediate area, and they have asked me to either stand down or vote no. I can't tell you what I'll do on third reading. It depends on what they tell me, but their concerns are traffic, and that is repeated over and over and over again to me. I travel this road all the time. I have to listen to what they're saying. So at this point, I'll be marked no, please. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you'd open the machine. Councilman O'Connell. Councilman O'Connell. Madam Clerk, if you close the machine, tally the vote.
29 in favor, 1 against, 3 abstain.
Motion carries. Bill 2017-816, Councilman Freeman, approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission 9-0. Changes 0.82 acres from RS10 to SP zoning for properties located at 98 Rose Street and 99 Evelyn Drive to permit 6 multifamily units. Councilman Freeman.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
All those in favor of Bill 2017-816, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing those, would all those in favor please come forward to speak? I think I saw one opposed, correct? Correct. So those in favor, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Michael Garrigan, Dale & Associates, 516 Heather Place. We're representing the applicant on this case as well. Similar to the last, here as Pretend Roy Dale. And I haven't had a lot of work on this project, but I know he has had several meetings on this project. And I believe that Councilman Freeman may be amending this prior to third, but I believe that all the decisions and the discussions and all the meetings and everything that's been discussed has been agreed upon to my knowledge, and we ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the council. My name is Cleveland Bain. I'm an attorney with the West Nashville Law Group. I represent the applicant, Mr. Sean Collins. We are the ones that actually initiated this SP rezoning. This process has been going for approximately 1 year now. We've had multiple community meetings. As of the last meeting, I believe that we had unanimous support of all the participants that were at the community meeting. We feel that this is a good plan, a plan that has taken in the concerns of the neighbors. As stated, we have Planning Commission approval, and actually, just for you all to know, this is actually going to be amended between this reading and the next reading, and it's actually going to be a lower density. I think the completed project will have 5 residential units. So I just humbly ask you all to move forward with this and pass it as is. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Sean Collins, and this is a development that we've all worked very hard for, and I just very, very much appreciate your consideration. Thank you so much.
Seeing no one else in support, those in opposition, please come forward.
Hi, I live at 97 Rose Street. My name's Carol Garner, and I'm a musician downtown. I've been working down there for 10 years, and I worked very, very hard to buy that house with my meager salary, and I bought it because it was a peaceful location. I'm not particularly interested in having a bunch of multifamily units across the street from me for several reasons. One, the process that's going to take to build it takes a long time, and that's going to cause rats to leave those properties, and they have to have a place to go, and they end up at my neighbors' houses, just like those other properties that were built on Rose Street. Secondly, when you build these huge houses, you are paving over watersheds. And what happens is the water has no place to go, and it causes flooding. And you know that area floods on I-24. It was underwater in 2009. And so we keep paving over our land, and we have Southside Street. I don't even recognize it anymore. When I moved here, it was a quaint little neighborhood. It had culture, and it had character. I didn't even recognize it the other day. It looks like Hollywood Hills. And now this new Nashville is starting to look like Hong Kong. It's starting to look like Austin. It looks like Hollywood. It does not look like Nashville anymore. You're also pricing out the artists, and that's the reason why people came here. You cannot charge $400 for a hotel room down at Omni if we were not down there on Broadway. And I promise you that. You have people from Alan Jackson's band. You have people from Toby Keith's band. You have myself, who has built my name down there, my reputation, and actually bought a house. So you're pricing these people out. Fortunately, you're not pricing me out, because I bought during a time before the boom hit. And I'm very, very thankful for that. But, you know, I also don't want property there. I spent a long time looking for that house, so I don't want the traffic. I spent a long time looking for that house, so I have a peaceful place for me and my pets. And it's absolute chaos down on Broadway. I like to go and have a peaceful time off. And I just hope that you vote no, so that you preserve the integrity of this city and keep the buildings, and so that we don't cause more flooding. You know, like I said, I don't want it. There's parts of Nashville that do look like Hong Kong, and, you know, kudos to that, but, you know, we're losing our culture, and I just want to preserve it, so I'm just asking that you vote no. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Freeman.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and also thank you to my neighbor at 97 for coming down. I do appreciate all of your concerns and such. And as mentioned, and I do sincerely mean that. But in regards to this bill, there's a couple things. We are going to be amending this on third, because as proposed, they were asking for 6, and I was never a fan of 6. And finally, after a couple of community meetings, those who showed up, we all agreed that 5 was a good solid number. I think we're going to have to work a little bit more on the design, but again, we can work on that before third reading. What also was mentioned is there were 3 houses. This is a tough spot because there are 2 corner lots, but right across the street, there was 1 lot that had 3 parcels. So by right, the owner was able to knock down 1, and they built 3 by right. So this area has seen just a real quick uptick in density. And, you know, I can appreciate your concerns there, 97, but those 3 we couldn't do anything about. This one, we definitely have direct control over, and I hope that we can make something that works. And with that, I ask for your approval.
Motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Bill 2017-817, Council Lady Murphy, referred to the Planning Commission. Applies 17.93 acres of a neighborhood conservation overlay district for various properties along Leonard Avenue and Carden Avenue. Council Lady Murphy.
I would like to open the public hearing, please.
Thank you, Council Lady. All those in favor of Bill 2017-817, please raise your hands. Thank you. Those opposed? I don't see any opposed. Do you, Council Lady?
No, I do not.
Do those in favor still wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. Council Lady Murphy.
I'd like to move for approval with a brief comment.
All right, let me ask planning just what the recommendation was as well, since it's not on my agenda.
Planning Commission recommended approval.
Thank you. Council Lady.
Thank you. I'd like to move for approval after thanking my fellow council members. Tonight we are passing 2 overlays in my district, and that's a big deal for District 24, given the history with overlays and everything. So thank you all for your support. As you can see, we've worked with the neighbors really hard to get support on both of these completely. So thank you, and I move for approval.
Thank you, Council Lady. There's a motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Bill 2017-818, Councilman Scott Davis, approved by the Planning Commission 6-0, changes 0.42 acres from CL and R6 to MULA zoning for property located at 1033 and 1043 East Trinity Lane. Councilman Scott Davis.
Open public hearing, please, sir.
All those in favor of Bill 2017-818, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none on either side, declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Davis.
Move for approval, please.
This motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-819, Councilman Kendall. Approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission, 7-0. Changes 0.49 acres from ORI to SP for properties located at 109, 111, and 113 28th Avenue North to permit a hotel. Councilman Kendall.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm going to move to defer to the first public hearing meeting in September with a brief comment.
Floor is yours.
Okay, we have people here tonight I know on both sides, and I met with one group of residents today, and I've also spoken with the developer. We've made a lot of progress on this. There was an issue about height that we've, I think, overcome now. There are now issues about parking, especially during the construction phase. It's a very tight area over around Centennial Park where this structure is going to be built, where the hotel will be built. And I think with my superior negotiating skills that we're gonna be meeting. What are you laughing about, Mr. Glover? But we'll be meeting sometime between now and then. I think we can solve a lot of these problems and have a nice hotel there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Trump. There's a motion.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I was getting ready to make a very serious compliment, but I do want to thank you for the public comments that you made on behalf of the council. You did a great job, very passionate. Thank you.
Thank you. I take it back. There's a motion to defer to the first meeting in September. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-820, Council Lady Van Rees. Approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission 6-0. Changes 1.24 acres from SP and RS10 to SP zoning for properties located at 704, 708, and 710 Due West Avenue North to permit up to 28 residential units. Council Lady Van Rees.
Please open the public hearing.
All those in favor of BL 2017-820, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none opposed, do those in favor wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. Council Lady Van Rees.
Thank you very much. I will move approval with a brief comment.
Floor is yours.
Just wanted to make note that on third reading, we will be updating Due West Avenue North to West Due West Avenue. And with that, I move approval.
Motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-821, Councilman Scott Davis. Approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission 8-0-1. Changes 0.21 acres from MULA to SP zoning for property located at 2525 Gallatin Avenue to permit up to 9 multifamily units and up to 2,000 square feet of commercial space. Councilman Scott Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With the baseball signal from planning, we're going to defer 2 meetings, sir. Is it proper signage?
There's a motion to defer to the September public hearing. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-822, Council Lady Murphy. referred to the Planning Commission. Changes 23.09 acres from R8 to RS 7.5 for various properties located along Cantrell Avenue, Carden Avenue, and Leonard Avenue. Councilor Murphy.
I'd like to open the public hearing.
All those in favor, Bill 2017-822, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none opposed, do those in favor wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. Councilor Murphy.
I would like to move the substitute.
There's a motion to substitute. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. You're on your bill as substituted, Councilor.
Thank you. For those of y'all watching at home diligently, I'm sure, and those in the audience, this amendment, the substitute, takes out Cantrell as agreed upon in our previous community meetings and things. So I'd like to move for approval.
There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-823, Councilor Dowell, approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission 6 and 0. Changes 6.3 acres from RM9 and RM20 to SP zoning for various properties located along Rural Hill Road to permit up to 72 multifamily units. Councilor Dowell.
Thank you. I open the public hearing.
All those in favor, BL 2017-823, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none on either side, declare the public hearing closed. Councilor Dowell.
Thank you. I move for approval.
This motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-824, Councilor Murphy, referred to the Planning Commission, applies 2.3 acres of a contextual overlay district to various properties along Knob Road. Councilor Murphy.
I'd like to defer to the September public hearing.
Motion to defer to the September public hearing is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-825, Councilman Syracuse. Approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission 5-0 and 1. Changes 6.39 acres from CL and RS10 to SP zoning for properties located at 119, 121, 125, and 135 Donaldson Pike to permit 208 multifamily units in commercial space. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Open the public hearing, please.
All those in favor of Bill 2017-825, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none opposed, do those in favor wish to speak? Declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval. Brief comment.
Floor is yours.
Folks, this is a regionally important development, and I'd like to thank the development team. They have done a good job putting this together. This is the first mixed-use multifamily development that activates downtown Donaldson and creates the true transit-oriented center. So it's very exciting. It is going to, there's more to come, and I move approval. Thank you.
This motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-826, Councilman Scott Davis, disapproved by the Planning Commission 8-0 and 1. Changes 0.4 acres from RS5 to RM20 zoning for property located at Sharp Avenue, unnumbered, west of Ellington Parkway. Councilman Scott Davis, let's see this. We'll see the slides, and I'll come to you.
This is a request to rezone from RS5 to RM20. Planning Commission recommendation was to disapprove. The property is located at the terminus of Sharp Avenue on the south side of Sharp Avenue. The property is currently zoned RS5, residential single family, 5,000 square feet minimum lot size. The land use policy for the area is conservation along the edge adjacent to the railroad and T4 urban neighborhood evolving. Planning Commission recommendation was to disapprove. The property is located interior of an established neighborhood at the end of a dead-end street. Rezoning to allow multifamily and to permit up to 8 residential units is inconsistent with the surrounding land use pattern and would change the character of the existing neighborhood. This would also increase traffic flow through an established neighborhood. Planning Commission recommended that the RS5 remain in place as the single-family use is consistent with the policy and the character of the neighborhood, and therefore Planning Commission recommended disapproval.
Thank you, Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
All those in favor of BL 2017-826, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none on either side, declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Davis.
I'd like to move for approval with the explanation, please.
Floor is
sir.
yours.
This is the second public hearing we've had on this. Once again, no one came in opposition for a few reasons. Number one, my Greenwood neighborhood folks, you know, half of them did not know that this piece of land was there because it's in an area where you have a lot of abandoned homes. At our planning committee meeting, I'd like the permission of our chair to bring codes in to describe the history of this area and the conditions of the single-family houses around here. My colleague to my right, Brett Withers, took a ride along with the police one day through this area and kind of realized why this is kind of a no-man's zone. And, you know, adding the RM20 will allow, because of the setback of the railroad, possibly 2 units, possibly, or maybe even 3, because there's also some other arterial things that you will have to do. So we're trying to fix a kind of a blank canvas here, and I would appreciate the support of my colleagues to help clean up this blight. Once again, I'm going to ask, you know, if the chair deems it improper to have codes here, they will be willing to submit a letter, and so will the police, detailing the history of this part of my neighborhood that we wish to clean up. Thank you. Move for approval, please.
Motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Bill 2017-827, Councilman O'Connell, approved by the Planning Commission 10-0. Updates and clarifies the downtown code subdistricts within the downtown code. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
All those in favor of Bill 2017-827, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Seeing none on either side, declare the public hearing closed. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval.
There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to the consent agenda. The following items are on the consent agenda. RS 2017-803, 805, 806, 7, 8, and 9. And then RS 2017-813 through 821. Councilman Hastings. If there is one you'd like to take off the consent agenda, which one?
Yeah, it is 800. I'm not sure if it's on there. I'm not, actually is not there, not right there. Right?
It's not on our agenda.
Okay, thank you.
No one else seeking recognition, if you'll bear with me while I read through the consent agenda. RS 2017-803, Councilman Cooper. Authorizes the mayor to submit the 2017-2018 annual update to the 2013-2018 Consolidated Plan for Housing and Community Development to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. RS 2017-805, Pardue, Cooper, and Vercher. Approves an agreement between the Emergency Communications District and Metro for services and reimbursement of costs pertaining to the enhanced 911 services. RS 2017-806, Councilman Pardue and Cooper. Approves a port security grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to the Office of Emergency Management to protect maritime critical infrastructure and key resources through deterrence, prevention, mitigation, and neutralization. RS 2017-807, Councilman Pardue and Cooper. Approves a 2017 Homeland Security grant from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency to the Metro Government for Homeland Security preparedness activities. RS 2017-808, Sledge, Cooper, and Henderson. Approves a Play Spaces grant from the National Recreation and Park Association to the Metro Parks and Recreation Department to fund park projects that provide access to inclusive play spaces and increase physical capacity. RS 2017-809, Gilmore and Cooper, approves a grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metro Board of Health to provide food safety services, including restaurant inspections, foodborne illness complaints, investigations, and environmental health specialist network assessments. RS 2017-813, Gilmore, Cooper, and Hurt, approves an amendment to a grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to the Metro Board of Health to enhance access to a comprehensive continuum of high-quality, community-based care for low-income individuals and families with HIV disease. RS 2017-814 Gilmore Cooper approves a contract between the Metro Board of Health and the University of Georgia College of Veterinary Medicine to provide clinical experience opportunities to its graduate veterinary program students, residents, and interns. RS 2017-815 Cooper and Murphy approves a grant from the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center for use in establishing consolidated business programs and services. RS 2017-816 Cooper and Murphy approves a grant from the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to administer programs and services. RS 2017-817 Elrod, Hager, and Glover authorizes Metro to enter into an agreement with the West Wilson Utility District to provide information needed to bill sewage services for its customers in Wilson County. RS 2017-818 Cooper and Elrod approves an agreement between the United States Department of the Army and the Metro government for Phase 6 of the flood preparedness study in Davidson County. RS 2017-819 Councilman Cooper authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the claim of Tamara Ferris against Metro in the amount of $6,200. RS 2017-820 Councilman Syracuse recognizes legendary country performing artist and songwriter Jeannie Seeley on her 50th anniversary as a member of the Grand Ole Opry. RS 2017-821 Council Lady Alan Shulman and others recognizes and congratulates the Nashville Predators head coach Peter Laviolette, the 2016-2017 Nashville Predators ice hockey team, and the entire ice hockey staff. That's the consent agenda. Committee reports. Councilman Cooper, Budget and Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance met this afternoon and had this report for the council. It approved 803, 805, 806, and 807 by a vote of 10-4, 0 against, and approved 808, 809, 813, 815, and 816, 817 by a vote of 11-4 and 0 against, and it approved 818 and 819 by a vote of 12-4, 0 against. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Cooper. Health, Hospitals, and Social Services, Councilman Pulley. Health, Hospitals, and Social Services, Councilman Pulley.
Sorry, Mr. President. Health, Hospitals, and Social Services recommend approval for 809, 813, and 814, 5 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilman. Parks, Library, and Recreation, Council Lady Henderson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The Parks, Library, and Recreation Committee recommends approval on 808, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Murphy, Personnel, Public Information.
The Personnel, Public Information, Human Relations, and Housing Committee voted for Resolution 2017-815 and 2017-816, 6 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Council Lady. Councilman Elrod, Councilman Pardue, Public Safety.
Public Safety met and reviewed 805, 806, 807, all 4, passed 4-0.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Elrod, Public Works.
Public Works recommend approval. Resolutions 817 and 818, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Shulman. Rules, confirmations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Rules had Resolution 820 and 821. Approved both those 7-4-0 against. I believe all the committee reports are in. I would move for approval on all the resolutions on the consent agenda.
There's a motion to approve the consent agenda. It's properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us back to 3 resolutions not on the consent agenda. RS 2017-810, Council Lady Gilmore, Councilman Cooper, approves a mosquito control grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metro Board of Health and provide funding for strengthening mosquito control efforts to control mosquito-borne diseases and to protect the health of the community. Councilman Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted 11-4-0 against to recommend the resolution.
Councilman Pulley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Health, Hospitals, and Social Services voted 5 in favor, 0 against to recommend indefinite deferral.
All right. Councilman Cooper.
I would like to make a motion for approval.
I think this and the following two resolutions have not been in front of the Board of Health yet, and they need to each be deferred indefinitely. Is that not correct, Mr. James?
Oh, okay. All right. I would move to defer indefinitely.
Thank you, sir. There's a motion to defer indefinitely. Is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I'm not sure that word made it to Budget and Finance, but it made it to another committee, Councilman. RS 2017-811, Council Lady Gilmore, Councilman Cooper. Approves an intake diversion grant from PetSmart Charity to the Metro Board of Health to provide low-cost medical services and behavioral vouchers to assist in decreasing the relinquishment of animals to Metro Animal Care and Control. Councilman Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Both 811 and 812, the Budget and Finance Committee voted to 11-0 to defer indefinitely.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Pulley, what's the committee report?
Are we on both 11 and 12?
Go ahead and we'll take the committee reports. We'll vote on them separately, but we'll get the committee reports together.
Health, Hospitals, and Social Services voted 5 in favor, 0 against on both 811 and 812 to defer indefinitely.
Thank you. There's a Councilman Cooper.
I'd make a motion to defer indefinitely.
Motion to defer indefinitely. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. RS 2017-812, Gilmore, Cooper, and Hurt approves an HIV and STD prevention in youth grant from the National Association of County and City Health Officials to the Metro Board of Health to develop an implementation to prevent HIV and sexually transmitted diseases in youth using centers, disease control, school-based approaches in collaboration with the Metro Public Schools. We have committee reports in. Councilman Cooper.
Budget and Finance voted 11-0 against to also defer indefinitely.
We'll take a motion now.
And I would make a motion to defer 812 indefinitely.
This motion to defer indefinitely is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to bills on introduction and first reading. Without objection, we'll take all those matters together. Seeing no objection, is there a motion to approve the bills on first reading? I'm sorry?
Councilman Hastings has, he's going to move to pull one on second.
On second?
After you're done with your first reading deferrals. Yeah. Or up to September 5th.
But it's on second reading.
Right, so after the first readings.
There's a motion to approve all bills on introduction and first reading is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
So you can call on Councilman Hastings. I know, because it's not until August 15th. He knows what to do. Call on.
Right now? Yeah. Councilman Hastings.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask to move the ordinance BL 2017-800, currently scheduled for the second reading on August 15th, to be deferred for the second reading on September the 5th, 2017.
There is a motion to reschedule second reading on ordinance BL 2017-800 from 8:15 to 9:05. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to the remaining bills on second reading. BL 2017-687, Councilman Elrod Wiener-Hart amends the Metro Code to establish a process and procedure for naming public buildings, structures, and spaces of the metropolitan government. Councilman Elrod.
Committee reports, please.
Councilor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. At the request of the sponsor, Planning, Zoning, Historical recommended indefinite deferral, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommended a indefinite deferral, 10 in favor, 0 against, and I so move with a brief explanation.
Floor is yours.
I'm working with the Historic Commission, and I'm going to file a new bill. Brief.
That was brief, sir. Motion to defer indefinitely is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-828, Council Lady Hurt amends the Metro Code to rename the Sexually Oriented Businesses Licensing Board as the Adult Entertainment or Sexually Oriented Business Licensing Board. Council Lady Hurt.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee report, please.
Councilman Swope.
Coes Fairs Farmers Market recommends approval 4-0 against.
Council Lady Hurt.
I'd like to move for approval and with a brief explanation.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. The ordinance is not changing at all. It's just the name. I visited the beer board and saw this big sign that says sexually oriented business. And I just thought that we needed to have a little bit more class and think that adult entertainment sounds just a little bit better than that. And especially for people who visit and come, we want to show that we have been thoughtful in the things that we do. And I just think that adult entertainment sounds just a little bit better than sexual-oriented business. I would say that Councilman Schumer wanted to know about Bud's House of Fun, but...
Let's stay on topic.
So I move for approval with that explanation.
Councilor Murphy.
I just had someone ask me if there was any issues with potential litigation, because there was a lot of litigation when this board was first established, and if there was any potential for litigation over the name changing, if our attorney could just touch on that.
There you go.
Mr. Cobb had a recollection from perhaps decades ago that there was some concern as to why it was not originally named Adult Entertainment in the first place. He recommended a particular attorney that we will consult with before third reading and do so before third reading.
Thank you.
Councilor Vercher.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. In my caption, I still see the conjunction "or" as it relates to the ordinance. So are we changing it from sexually oriented business licensing board to adult entertainment? Why do we have "or" sexually oriented business licensing board still in there, if that's what we're changing it from?
The sponsor believed that simply adding adult entertainment or and then keeping the rest of the original name would soften the blow of those who found it a bit too prurient.
We don't think that's still a little redundant from what we currently already, if the sponsor could speak to that.
I'll come back to her. Councilor, and I'm going to come back to you in a second. Councilman Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Just a question for our council. Is this bill, I know there's a discussion of researching naming conventions for this particular board or commission, but is this bill amendable on third, or would such an amendment, if we were to change the name, would that require a suspension of the rules?
Require suspension.
Okay, and that, since that is the case, and it sounds like some of our colleagues have a lot of questions on this, I'm wondering if the sponsor might consider just deferring the second reading until the next meeting when some of those questions could be answered.
Councilor Karen Johnson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, sponsor and large Councilwoman Hurt. I agree in changing this. However, I have a question for our attorney. Was there any reason why we did not use "and" versus "or"? I'm kind of confused a little bit as to why we said adult entertainment or instead of adult entertainment and sexually oriented.
Nothing other than the preference of the sponsor.
So would people think that is one or the other once it's being posted for meetings, for public meetings or what have you?
Yeah, it was a matter of the preference of the sponsor, so I would defer to her.
Can the sponsor address that?
I'll come back to the sponsor at the end. She can address
you.
whatever questions
Thank
are
you.
out there. Councilman Pardew.
I was just wondering, I voted against that hair salon. Maybe I made a mistake. Will these be able to be in the neighborhoods?
Despite the urgings of Schulman.
It depends on what neighborhood you live in, sir. There's a whole line of response to that, sir, but I'm gonna withhold. Council Lady Weiner.
Sorry, Vice Mayor, I can't follow that.
All right.
My question is, Mike, in terms of adult entertainment, can you speak to the definitions? Is a sexually oriented business already defined as a form of adult entertainment?
Yes.
So, to my thought then, this is redundant. Why aren't we just saying adult entertainment? Why do we need the clarification?
I believe the sponsor's intent was to not lose the continuity of what has been known in the past as the sexually oriented. And so to add the buffering term in front of it.
Would the sponsor entertain naming it adult entertainment and leaving off the sexually explicit language that some find offensive? I'm asking here.
I'll come back to the sponsor at the end. We're not going to have a colloquy on this. I'm sorry. Councilman O'Connell.
Well, then in which case, yeah, I guess I should probably, I was going to say, has the sponsor considered taking nominations from the floor for naming this board, but perhaps that's...
Councilor Gilmore.
So, yeah, I think it's a good idea to change it to the adult entertainment. I was just trying to see, does it have the sexual-oriented business piece have to do something with where it's already cited in the code? Is that where we're keeping it?
Right, it's known through that. It's a lengthy section of the code. It's repeatedly referred to as the sexually oriented, et cetera. There is signage to that effect.
Okay, so that's why we're doing it.
Right.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say that I stand in support of adult entertainment. I think it's that's right, I did. I did just say that, but I'm Bob. Yeah, so I stand in support of the name change. Let me clarify, the name change of adult entertainment, and I hope that we would be able to move this forward and not belabor it. All right, thank you.
We're way past belaboring already. Councilor Hurt, there were some questions that arose. If you wanted to try and respond to those.
Yes, I'll be happy to, Vice Mayor. Basically, what our legal expert has said is for the continuity, because when I did some research on this, I found some of the same questions being asked, and we're not sure, as Mr. Cobbs brought up, in the codes, and that's why I just put the "or" in there just to be safe, making sure that when they saw adult entertainment, it would just soften it and not pretty much dismantle what people are already familiar with. But I have no problem if the council is willing to just use adult entertainment. That initially was my preference, but I think with the additional research that needs to be done, it may be a good idea to defer it, and once we come back with that information, we'll have.
Is that a motion to defer?
Yes, so I move that we defer for one meeting.
Proper motion to defer one meeting. Councilor Gilmore, are you seeking recognition on the deferral?
No, I think it's good. We're all sexually oriented, and it's okay to.
I appreciate the spirited discussion in regards to this. The activity later, I have to assess that, I guess.
The motion to defer one meeting is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. The president has a 5:35 a.m. flight tomorrow, guys. This just. BL 2017-829, Council Lady Karen Johnson, Council Lady Vercher, amends the Metro Code to require the Department of Public Works to replace at no cost to the homeowner government-supplied waste containers that are stolen, lost, or damaged beyond repair. Council Lady Karen Johnson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee report.
Councilman Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted a 12-4-0 against to defer for one meeting.
Councilman Elrod.
Public Works, at the request of the sponsor, recommended one meeting deferral, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Councilor Johnson.
Thank you. I move for one meeting deferral.
The motion to defer one meeting is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-830, Council Lady Vercher, Elrod, and others. Authorizes the acquisition of right-of-way easements, drainage easements, temporary construction easements, and property rights for purposes of the Antioch Pike, Richards Road sidewalk improvements. Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilman Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted 12-4, 0 against to recommend the bill.
Council Lady Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, Zoning, Historical recommended approval, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommend approval, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Council Lady Vercher.
I move for approval.
This motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-831, Councilman Hager, Elrod, and Allen. Authorizes Metro to accept permanent and temporary easements for the Mount Vernon Drive Stormwater Improvement Project for properties located at 3939 and 0 Old Hickory Boulevard and 116 and 117 Mount Vernon Drive. Councilman Hager.
Committee report.
Council Lady Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, Zoning, Historical recommended approval, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommend approval, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Hager.
Move for approval.
This motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-832, Councilman Withers, Allen, and Elrod. Authorizes the Metropolitan Development and Housing Agency to install, construct, and maintain aerial and underground encroachments in the right-of-way located at 800 Sylvan Street. Councilman Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Could I get the committee reports, please?
Council Lady Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, Zoning, Historical recommended approval, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommend approval, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to request approval.
Thank you, Councilman. There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Bill 2017-833, Councilman Cooper, adopts the 2017 Joint Assessment of Fair Housing for Metro and authorizes the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Metropolitan Development and Housing Agency. Councilman Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance met today and recommended the bill 12-4, 0 against, and I would move for approval.
Motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to bills on third reading. Bill 2017-719, Councilman Scott Davis. Changes 0.23 acres from R6 to SP zoning for property located at 2407 Brasher Avenue to permit an accessory detached recording studio in addition to all uses permitted by the R6 zoning district. Councilman Scott Davis.
I'd like to defer for 2 meetings with an explanation, please.
The floor is yours.
I want to thank Council Lady Berkeley Allen for her help in helping me and my neighbors solve this situation. Thank you, Council Lady. Show good leadership here. There's been a bill that was filed, and Mr. Jamison is going to make his tweaks and make sure everything is correct. But I do want to talk to you for a second. Every neighbor on these 3 streets who live on these 3 streets signed that petition in support. 30 people came to the council public hearing and raised their hands in support. More neighbors came back and watched the planning committee meeting and watched our debate. This recording studio has been there for over 25 years. I understand the concerns that we love this gentleman, but we don't know who's going to come back behind. And we're doing a few things to address that. But what I don't like is the rhetoric coming outside of my neighborhood. People suggesting that this is going to ruin my neighborhood. This gentleman has been there for 25 years. One of the reasons why the neighbors love this gentleman is for being there, working from home with a quiet recording studio. He looks out for the other neighbors. This property is right behind the Diesel College. And even though I'm going to defer 2 meetings, I'm going to be sending out a video of the area and why neighbors are in support. This has nothing to do with a short-term rental. And I disagree when people try to use this to further that cause in one way or another. It is not a short-term rental. But I'm being contacted by barbershops, beauty salons, and recording studios all over Nashville. Not saying that they want to do this permit process, but they feel like they're being picked on by a select elite few. In North Nashville, we have barbershops that people have been operating for years out of their home that people are calling codes on. We have beauty salons in South Nashville that people have been operating out of for years, that all of a sudden a few elite are calling and reporting these businesses. And what I'm warning to this council is the spirit of this. I don't like the term. We're going after hardworking individuals, because.
Councilman, on the motion to defer.
Sorry, Vice Mayor, I know you have a flight. Apologize.
Well, I mean, you've asked for defer. You'll have a chance to talk about this again at the next meeting.
Next two meetings, sir.
All right. There's a motion to defer to the first meeting in September. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-762, Councilor Roberts. Changes 0.8 acres from R8 to SB zoning for a property located at 6015 and 6017 O'Brien Avenue to permit up to 9 residential units. Councilor Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. At the request of the sponsor, Planning, Zoning, Historical recommended deferral, 1 meeting, 11 in favor, 0 against.
Councilor Roberts.
I'd like to defer for 1 meeting, please.
Motion to defer 1 meeting is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-769, Councilor Dowell. Changes 19.27 acres from RM20 to SP zoning for property located at Hickory Hollow Parkway, unnumbered south of Mount View Road, to permit up to 350 units and apply appropriate design standards. Councilor Dowell.
Thank you. Committee reports.
Councilor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, Zoning, Historical recommended approval, 11 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilor Dowell.
I move for approval.
There's a motion to approve. Is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-795, Councilman O'Connell, Elrod, and Allen. Authorizes LC Germantown, LLC, to install, construct, and maintain underground and aerial encroachments in the right-of-way located at 1226 2nd Avenue North. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval, please.
Motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-803, Councilman Anthony Davis, Elrod, and Allen abandons an existing water line and accepts a new water line and fire hydrant for property located at 0 Ward Avenue. Councilman Anthony Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All in, I would move approval.
There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-804, Councilman Anthony Davis, Elrod, and others. Authorizes the acquisition of right-of-way easements, drainage easements, temporary construction easements, and property rights for purposes of the Lytton Avenue sidewalk improvements. Councilman Davis.
Thank you. Move approval.
Motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-805, Withers, Elrod, and others. Authorizes the acquisition of right-of-way easements, drainage easements, temporary construction easements, and other property rights for purposes of the Sevier Street sidewalk improvements. Councilman Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval with a very brief comment.
Floor is yours.
Just for those who happen to be watching at home, this is a little bit of a housekeeping matter. This sidewalk was already constructed, and we're just getting our paperwork in order. Thank you.
Thank you. BL 2017-806. I'm sorry, we didn't vote on that, did we? BO2, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-806. Councilor Allen, Elrod, and Cooper. Authorizes the acquisition of right-of-way easements, drainage easements, temporary construction easements, and property rights for purposes of the Gale Lane sidewalk improvements. Councilor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval with a brief comment.
Floor is yours.
Just want to say thanks. We're thrilled to be getting this sidewalk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-807, Councilman Rosenberg, Elrod, and others. Authorizes the acquisition of right-of-way easements, drainage easements, temporary construction easements, and property rights for purposes of the Bellevue Road sidewalk improvements. Councilman Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move approval.
This motion to approve is properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. BL 2017-808, Councilman Anthony Davis, Elrod, and others. Authorizes the Department of Water and Sewerage Services and Lincoln Management and Investment Services, LLC, to provide public water service improvements for properties in the area. Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
There's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Before we adjourn, one announcement. We're about to have a whole series of votes, some in August, some in September. The first announcement is tonight. And there is, I think, a note on everyone's desk that the pro tem will be elected at our next meeting, August 15th, 2017. The term will be from September 1 to August 31 of 2018. Nominations will be taken from the floor, and the vote will be held on August 15th in accordance with Rule 42. If you have any questions, please talk to Mr. Jameson about it. With that, is there a motion to adjourn? Properly seconded. All in favor? You are adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.tv.